Good evening, Doomers. You are watching an analysis of POOGERS Map 28 UV Max, otherwise known as Fun 2, by no reason. This is my third video on the map, and will go in-depth to explain the current routes and strategies for the map. The last two videos were for older runs of the map. The first one was more of a survival demo, just trying to string everything together in the map. The 2511 run, the one that came after, definitely picked up the pace, and used a slightly tighter route. This one, however, is where POOG 28's speedrun route stands currently. I focused on implementing new strategies into every fight that had time in mind, and addressing some inefficiencies from the previous run, the 2511 demo. To point out a few, simple things like hitting the switch in this cackle closet while I'm here rather than after clearing the fight, or taking greater advantage of this crusher to kill cybers. The largest time save, however, comes into play right at the end. In this secret fight, there's several tiny secret sectors that the player must tag while climbing these stairs. It's the kind of thing where if you're going too fast, you can skip over the sectors, but unfortunately, if you miss any, you'll have to spend considerable time backtracking to grab them all after everything is done. It was a pain to implement because of how precise it is in an already dicey section, but at the same time, it needed to be addressed. In short, this exit in 2125 is a sort of evolution of the last two runs. If you'd like to watch it now without commentary, I'll have the video time stamped. Just some background about the map. I will refer to different sections of the main map as arenas. The outdoor arena is Arena 1, this room with the lava pit in the middle is Arena 2, and the dark room with arachnotrons is Arena 3. The map also has a secret area you can revisit either before doing anything in the map or after completing the main part. I will be doing the secret fight after. Before getting started, I'd like to thank Dan for working with me and bouncing off ideas to develop the routes and strategies for this map. To name one, I believe he was the first to conceptualize a strategy to rush the third arena, among other things. I'd also like to thank Brent Donald for inspiring this video with his original POOG 28 video. Give that a watch if you haven't. It's great. With that out of the way, it's time to dive into the demo. Start off the map by grabbing yourself a BFG, one cell pack, the backpack, and a megasphere. Click the fire button before stepping in the teleporter and attempt to push through the chain gunners. Grab some cells in the mega at the entrance to the first arena. We're now in the first arena. I first take a shot at the Manx and then make my way to the other side of the room. Our goal is to get out quickly, but not with this many monsters alive. From this spot, we need to make a 180 without catching rockets from the cybers to the left. In order to do this safely, you must hide in this spot, which is out of line of sight of the cybers. Now here I make my run back to the other side, just barely sweeping under these rockets. Pushing through the Manx and PEs is easy enough, but there is risk of getting stuck. At the end of the arena, perform a little loop towards the back wall and then forward towards the cybers. You can sweep under rockets this way. Here is where you want to get the cyber wall and the flying enemies infighting. This is best accomplished by playing up close to the cackle cloud. When I'm ready, I turn back around for one last loop, ensuring I have enough health and cells for what's next. After this last loop, I wrap around the arena, and then Dimensions Map 3 down some cybers. This is ridiculously dangerous. There's fire coming from every direction but your left, and not to mention the possibility of taking rockets from cybers across the map. With all the cybers dead, it's time to get the hell out of here. Past all these Hell Knights there's a teleporter, but you will have to push and preserve some health to avoid getting insta-killed upon entering it. There's hardly enough space to move around here. We need to ride both lifts up and press 2 switches to leave. Avoid taking excessive damage and picking up megas. We will need them later. We're now ready to leave Arena 1. There's a group of 3 cybers and some revs blocking our way though. It's extremely variable how well they infight. Thankfully, the cybers cooperate with my BFG. I'm not dropping down into Arena 2 just yet. Waking these monsters up first can give the cacos in there some time to move away from the wall, ensuring survivability. Again, I am being conservative with the megas in here. It's now time to drop down. We've entered Arena 2, arguably the hardest part. In order to speed things up, we can trigger the first and second phases at the same time. The switch is at the end of all of these imps. Do not waste megas. Well, oops, that one's gone now. With nearly everything activated in this room, you will have very little space to move. The burden is now on the player to effectively lure monsters around. The best way to accomplish this is with a horseshoe maneuver. This strategy will draw all the newly released Hell Knights into the center and give you enough room to move on the edges. But first, you must survive the first few horseshoes. This first one is the most difficult. The cyber that spawns here can screw off. The longer you can keep these revs at bay, the better. When the pressure is too much, leave. Revenants will block your path here. Now we're at the other end of the horseshoe. Again, the longer you can keep these knights at bay, the better. Spending more time here means you'll have more space on the other side when it's time to leave. The worst is over now. Wall cybers and infighting rockets can still end runs, but with space to breathe and mostly Hell Knights left, this becomes a breeze in comparison. Eventually, we can get behind the Knights and hit the button that starts the next phase. There's so many of them though, and they must be pulled away from the switch first. Since we wasted a mega at the start of this room, we will need another before hitting the button. We're making good pace here, hitting the button before 4:30. I don't know what this cyber was thinking. The best thing to do at the start of this wave is retreat into the cackle closet back here and completely empty it. It's possible to die pushing into here. There's 2 megas back here and some cells, and you'll probably end up using one of them. It's time to stall in here for a bit and prepare ourselves for the upcoming BS. More cybers spawn at the other end of the room, and we want them busy while we clear the newly opened vial wall. You'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. Make sure you have adequate cells before getting back here. Ending up in this spot with no cells usually means a dead run. The wall of cybers, which is down now, can assist you in killing the vials. This part of the demo went exceptionally well. I mentioned before that I cleaned up the routing in this part. After hitting that switch, we can technically leave here, but the way out is blocked by 27 vials. Everything in here must be dead before releasing those. Now here's a neat strat I found. Typically there will be a large crowd of barons and knights back here. By sitting in this spot, the crowd can eat BFG in the front and take rockets from the wall in the back. Infighting went well in this attempt, and the strat ended up being somewhat unnecessary. The rest on from here is all cleanup. Killing these cybers is very fun, but sometimes they like to surprise you from behind. Sitting in this lava pit means the wall of cybers can't shoot at me. This is where I do one last check before triggering the vials. Sometimes cybers in here like to linger in odd spots, and doing this gives them a chance to come out. I hope you're ready because it's time to bring the vials out, refire 2 BFGs, and hide to the right here. As I said, there's a shit ton here. Mistiming these can and will kill you. Ideally, they'll go down without you having to retreat for cells, but that rarely ever happens. I think this went about average. here is where I like to note the time. We're done with this part of the map at low 7 minutes, which is good. It's time to drop down into Arena 3. After dropping, I like to stagger my movement and kill a few specters. These guys suck, as you know. We're going to push behind this left wall of Arachnotrons and hopefully not die while doing so. We are now in the pit. The switch down here will open more of the map. I'm going to pause here and explain the strategy for a moment. The premise behind everything we do here is to get out as fast as possible. This arena is probably the most straightforward to trigger and leave. However, it requires a very fine-tuned strategy. After making some space for ourselves, we'll hit the switch. That will open a wall filled with flyers, another wall to our right with revs and imps. Spawn 3 cybers down here, and 3 cybers way back where we leave this fight. Behind the revs and imps is the switch that opens our way out of here. Unfortunately though, in order to get to there, we must push through all the flying enemies without taking rockets, get back here, and push through this closet of Arachnotrons to get to this switch, all without dying. It is just barely viable enough for this demo, and it is the most risky thing I do in the entire map. With some minor adjustments however, we can drastically increase this strategy's success rate. The first tweak involves waking up the pain elementals guarding the Arachnotron closet. The hope in doing this is that they will be moved away from the wall when it's time to make the run to the Arachnos. As you know, when a pain elemental spawns lost souls in your face, you will get blocked for a short second. This can be just enough time for rockets to catch up to you and end the run. The second tweak is what to do after getting in the Arachnotron closet. At that point, you will likely not have enough health to go for the finale. Thankfully, this wall opens after hitting the switch, and we can snatch a mega and a breather as well to survive the dash to the finale. With all that said, let's see how this goes. We need to make some space and then press the button. The Arachnos above can be bothersome, so I killed those too. It's not hard to survive this part. There's 5 megas down here and I want to save 2. Kill the cybers and dodge the rockets to the best of your ability. With that bit over, it's time to stall in the pit for a bit longer. This has the effect of pulling the rev horde away from the switch above and to the right. We don't want to stay for too long though. Remember how I mentioned the cybers that spawn in the way back? The longer you stall here, the closer they'll get to the spot we need to be in to wake the PEs, making things more dangerous. With 8 minutes on the clock, I hold my breath and make my way back to wake the pains up. After doing so, I make a quick 180 and dash in for that switch. We're not ready for the Arachno closet just yet. I sit in this spot for a moment. It's important to note that you can eat cyber rockets here from the 3 that spawned in the pit. Alright, time to go for it. This is why I save at least 1 mega in the pit. As you can see, they didn't do the best job moving away, but it ended up being good enough, and I made it to safety relatively unscathed. This is where the safety mega comes in. Just to recap, at this point we've done all 3 arenas. We've survived the initial part of the map with Arena 1, got through the extremely cramped parts in Arena 2, and properly executed the strat for Arena 3. It's now time to do the finale. When I start this fight, the entire map will open up, and we'll be able to quote-unquote freely traverse the map. That also has the effect of releasing the center cybers, and there's a lot more of them than you'd expect. It's a very long fight and absolutely needs a strict routine in order to survive it. What I do here is largely what I've been doing since I found a strat playing this map for the first time, save for some tweaks. This is the part of the map I practiced the most, and by doing that, I was able to address any potential problem parts before losing attempts to them. In this run, I focused more on speed instead of merely surviving. Alright, back to the action, enough talking. I got the idea here to pre-fire 2 BFG shots for this vial closet. Now grab the invuln and kill them quickly. Run out into the first arena back where all these cacos have opened. Here I linger for a moment. You'll want to make it to the other end of this caco closet before the invuln runs out. As you can see, mostly everything that was out here before has died thanks to infighting. Don't linger on this side too long. We need to wrap back around to Arena 2 without getting blocked by the massive cybers. It's time to cut back to Arena 3 from here. In this part of the map, a massive closet with Makibai has opened with a switch in the back. This switch is very important. It triggers the central crusher, which will assist us in killing these cybers. Our job now is to camp in this part of the map and kill things until it's no longer safe here. Once the Mancubi are down, I start making laps around to kill spiders. These guys suck because they like to infight with cybers, take up way too much space with their aircraft-sized hitboxes, and cause infighting rockets. We need as much of them dead as possible before the cybers encroach into our space. When the cybers start to show up in the room, that's your cue to leave. Make sure you have full cells in Omega before making the run for Arena 1. This space will fill up with revs, and you have to try to push through them with your BFG. It's a tad RNG, but it's the best option you've got. Try to snatch Omega. Now that we're out here and I've hit the Mant Closet switch, another invuln has opened. Be careful with rockets here. After teleporting, don't linger on this side for too long. The invuln is in the cave to your left. We will make use of it to make another lap around the map. As you can see, it's necessary for pushing through Arena 2. We can also make use of it to push through the Rev Teleporter while leaving Arena 3. Back here again, we won't take the teleporter right away. There's some cells left over from before and we can now reach them. Camp in this spot and kill Cacos until your cells are exhausted. Now we must make a dash to Arena 2. The resources over here come in handy. Be quick and watch out for Cybears. This part is somewhat dangerous. To make it through, we need an opening in the Hell Knights, and most of the time there is one available. Hold your breath and push through with the BFG. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out, and you've got to improvise. Camping behind the wall of knights until you can push through typically works in this case. Now, do not stay in this spot for long. The massive cybers will approach you from the right, and you'll be pinned in this corner of the map. This is the last time we will have to raw push through these revs. Back here, there's a lot more room and we can even snatch a Mega. The goal now is to stick to Arena 1 until the Rev Teleporters have emptied. This will draw the Cybers into this part of the map. There's lots of enemy manipulation going on with this strategy right now. Thanks to these steps, we can safely make a horseshoe around the arena without fear of taking rockets when turning around. The steps combined with the teleporter on the other side are very useful. While you wait for the revs to come out, take this opportunity to kill more flying enemies. Now the Cybers are really getting up in my room. I'll have to get out soon. Thankfully it looks like the revs have just finished teleporting. That's great. Now we're ready to start the cleanup process. I mentioned before that we were camping in Arena 1 and drawing the Cybers in there. Now, in order to maximize our use of the Crushers, we must camp in Arenas 2 and 3. I like to synchronize my movement here with the Crusher pattern. As the Crusher goes down, I stay behind the wall of Barons and Knights to instigate infighting, and after it comes up, I make a lap around through Arena 3. You have just enough time to duck under the rockets running through here. We've got a circle strafe established. Like I said, we're going to linger more in arenas 2 and 3. There's some cybers back here I need to clean up before I go back to doing what I was before. When the crusher comes up, make another lap. Just getting rid of these cybers again while the crusher is down. Then getting behind the barons as the crusher rises again. It's safe to run under the crusher if you're quick about it. With most of the cybers dead, we can now grab the yellow key, which has lowered. The yellow switch is in the closet with the invuln. That switch opens the exit. Just gotta kill these last few enemies. As with most Norre's maps, there's some cybers blocking the exit. I take care of one as I wait for the crusher to finish its round. Two more cybers left, and we're done with this fight. That means the magic number is 10724, leaving almost 1700 monsters unkilled. We are not done just yet. These guys are incredibly awkward to kill, by the way. After filling up, we need to shoot a very tiny secret switch. Let me point out just how close to the exit line diff that the switch is. Do not be haphazard with this. You'll also need to be straight on with the wall in order to hit the button, which is very deep in the wall. After shooting it, turn around to the left and make it into this tunnel. You don't have much time to do this. Be sure to tag the secret at the start of it, RIP Brendan. 14 secrets upon entering is a magic number. The point of this room is to exhaust your BFG ammo. There's 16 vials to kill, you have 15 shots with your 600 cells and another spare shot on the floor. Here I employ the 11 trick for counting the secrets in this room. Each tunnel has 11 secrets to be tagged. This makes counting the secrets very easy. Let's say I have, 40 secrets before going into a tunnel. After coming out, the ones placed in my secret counter should increment by 1. The numbers 40 and 51 are negligible. So long as I see the ones placed moves from 0 to 1, I know I'm good. Otherwise, you'll have to go back to tag any missing sectors. Be careful not to waste BFG shots. You only get so many. You want to leave this place with 194 tagged secrets. Credits to Dan for the plan for this room, by the way. Clearing all the tunnels on 2 adjacent sides of the room will start lowering the bars around the center teleporter. With that done, we are good to leave. And look, here are the cells we saved at the beginning of the demo. These will massively speed things up later. Alright, I gotta pause here. This goddamn room killed so many runs. I don't even know where to begin. I guess to explain how it works, there's these massive vats with tons of arch files on them. You can lower the vats by shooting these switches which are sprinkled around the room. You wanna see what happens if you don't shoot them? Yeah, that's one of the worst ways to lose runs here. Not only that, but the Hell Knights are putting constant pressure on you everywhere you go. Stand in one spot for too long, and you're toast. Get bad RNG running back on the sledge, you're toast. Oh, and I can't forget to mention this. Once you're on the higher ledge, these vials can even hit you while they're lowered. This is the most BS part of the map, and it's right at the very end. Dying here was devastating, and almost totally out of my control. I mentioned before that we could save massive time here though, by tagging every secret on the first pass. This room was a big reason for why I redid this demo. So, let's see how it goes. Alright, we barely got past probably the hardest part of this. It's not over yet though. With both switches hit, head to the stairs. It's important to time this climb after the vials are done targeting you, and to climb the stairs from the middle. Go fast and you might get through alive. If you can do this part now without getting zapped off randomly, the map is won. I do a nice little SR40 here to skip this bend. This part isn't so hard to survive, I was just in panic attack mode. Nerves made this room an absolute hell, and every death was mentally crushing. Okay, I don't want to jinx it, but the hard stuff is all over. We've got to survive one more questionable part and it's all good. The best thing to do here is make these tall, oval shapes. That movement pattern will dodge most of the projectiles from above, which are the more important ones. Maximize your rocket damage output by shooting deep into the crowd. Now it's just waiting for the outer knights to get crushed. The map will start to lag a ton when the crusher starts. It's important to have a plan. What I do is tag both secrets to the right and grab the mega over there. Then I try to make loops and try to hit the Hell Knights in front of me with rockets. When that's over, switch to BFG and dump all of your cells into the crowd. Maximize your tracers. After you're done, run back, snatch a mega, and sit in the back left corner. Now the vials below are getting crushed. If too many of them can see you during this, you could be at risk of getting zapped. Thankfully, that doesn't happen in this demo. Alright, we've got all 220 secrets tagged and don't have to backtrack. That is a massive time save. It's just you and the remaining Hell Knights now. I could barely play here and almost missed one, then accidentally line skipped this teleporter, causing me to miss my chance to run under the crusher. Maybe I could have made it, but no way I was going to test my luck at the end like that. And that's it. Poog 28 is over. Let me reveal the attempt count now. This run took about 340 attempts. A bit more than I wanted, but I had plenty of deaths to the secret fight that ended up bloating the count. I don't know if I want to run this again. I'm pretty pleased with this demo, even with the minor time loss at the end. If I do end up going for it a fourth time, it'll be for sub 20 minutes and with a new route. I'm not sure how else I can milk 2 minutes out of this run, and this route was already quite challenging for me. So I guess we'll see what happens down the road. That's all I've got for now. Have a wonderful day, and enjoy the demo playback without me talking now. The music replacement this time will be the full Drought EP by Deathspell Omega.